Hi there and welcome to this Hetzner tutorial for beginners. What is Hetzner? Hetzner is a cloud provider, cloud hosting provider to be specific. They provide dedicated servers, cloud servers, shared web hosting, domain registration, DNS service, and various storage products. So first of all, I'm just going to do an overview of the different products which are here. And then, most importantly, I know you probably want to see how you can deploy an Ubuntu server, a Debian server on Hetzner, and how to log into that server. I'm going to put the timeline for the different sections of the video. So if you just want to deploy your server, go ahead and jump to the section with that. But if you want to learn more about Hetzner, all these different products, let's get started right away. So let's come here under Dedicated, and I'm just going to do an overview of this. Let's start with Dedicated. So dedicated servers, as the name suggests, these are dedicated servers. They're not virtualized servers. These are actual computers on the Hetzner data center, and you can buy one and use it for whatever you want. And they're different dedicated server types. So click on them and read more about them, see the different prices. If you need server auctions, which are affordable dedicated servers that have been used by other people and you can just get them at a lower price, you can check that. And I can also see that there's something that is new here, GPU servers. I can see there are GPU servers that Hetzner are starting to provide, especially for people who are doing AI related tasks. So click on them and see the options that are available for you. And then cloud, as I said, Hetzner Cloud is the VPS product. So here you're also going to find different types of cloud servers from Hetzner. So if you come down here, especially if you come down here to pricing, you'll see that there are shared x86 servers and there are also shared ARM64 servers, and then there are dedicated virtual servers. So these are Intel and AMD will fall under shared vCPU x86, and these are 64-bit Intel or AMD servers. And then shared vCPU with ARM64, these are ARM servers. These processors are becoming cheaper and cheaper, so more cloud providers are trying to provide VPS products out of these processors because they're much cheaper than the Intel and AMD processors. And if you want to run a website, you can try and use ARM servers first of all to see how they will perform, but usually you'll find that they're just okay to run your website. If you need dedicated virtual servers, these are servers that they're virtualized servers, but the CPU is dedicated. So in this case, you're going to find under shared CPU on both sides here, you'll find that the CPU can be shared. Even if you're guaranteed 2 virtual processors at some point, those 2 processors that are given to you may end up being shared by someone who is using the same server as you. So it's one computer, and that computer is divided into different customers. So the different customers will be told you'll get 4 virtual CPUs, and if the CPU capacity is overutilized, whereby you find the customer next to you will eat some of your CPU. If you want this CPU to be dedicated to you without the possibility of it being shared, you go with the dedicated servers. And these are the prices for the dedicated servers. You can see it starts at 12 euros. And let's look at the pricing for the ARM64 servers. You'll see these ones, you get 2 amperes and they're much cheaper than these ones. You can try them and see if they work well for your use case. If you're running a website, you can use this. Just deploy one and upload your website and see how it performs. And then, of course, shared CPU. If you don't trust the ARM64 servers because you've heard they're not as fast as Intel or AMD, then just go with these other servers. We're going to deploy a cloud server at some point. So let's just go ahead and continue to the next part. Here under Web and Managed, let's see what products they have here. So here you're going to find web hosting products. Hetzner also provides web hosting products, and that is shared web hosting. If you're interested in that, you can look at that and see what prices they offer. Just go to the website and the links are all here. And then there are managed servers. So if you want to get a server and you don't want to deal with the hassle of maintaining the server yourself, you can sign up for managed server service. So let's just click on that and see more because it's interesting. Powerful servers without the stress of administration. Just come in here and look at what they offer. So you can see this is 4 cores, 16 GB RAM. You don't get RAID, and you can look at the other options that they provide here, especially for software. Just come in here and look at what they provide. And if you have any questions, you can always contact Hetzner support concerning this. And support is right there. And then the next thing is Colocation. What is Hetzner Colocation? That is a rented space where you can put your servers. On their server racks, they can leave some space for you where you can bring your own servers and put them in their data center and use the infrastructure such as electricity, network, such as the internet, and so on. So if you want to take advantage of the infrastructure, but you want to use your own servers, you can rent server spaces, server racks on Hetzner from the Hetzner data center. So if you want to see how many servers you can hold in that, the dimensions for the server rack can be found here. So 14 unit rack space in a 19-inch rack. So you can look at that, look at the servers that you have and see whether this is going to be appropriate for you. From Colocation, let's look at storage. What options do they have under storage? So the storage box, this is storage space that you can get from Hetzner. You can use it for backing up your website and other things. For 320, I think you get 1 terabyte. Let's just click on it to confirm. So BX1, you get for 320 euros a month, you're going to get 1 terabyte and all these other features. You can see this is pretty affordable. So for 320, 1 TB, you can back up your website. If you have clients that you need to back up their websites, this is something that you can use because it uses SFTP and other protocols. So if you want to do it via SFTP, you can use SFTP here. You can see they support SFTP, FTPS, SCP, all this Samba, all these are usable with the Hetzner storage box. And the other one was storage share. You can click on that and see what it's about, but the one that I've seen most people using is storage box. Let's come here under services, and what else is here? Maybe you want to register your domain. With Hetzner, you can do that. DNS console, you can manage your entire DNS using Hetzner. Registration robot, you can register multiple domains. If you want to register bulk domains automatically, you can do so with Hetzner robot. You can also get SSL certificates from Hetzner custom solutions. So if you have any questions about that, just click there and contact them. Load balancers. If you want to load balance your services, you have 3 servers that are running something. You want high availability for your system or for your software, whatever you're running, you can use Hetzner load balancers, and the load balancer is pretty affordable. The load balancer from AWS, I think it's $17. The one from DigitalOcean and Valtra, Linode, I think it plays around $10. You'll have to confirm that, but the last time I checked, it was roughly $10 or $12. For load balancers, let's go to the pricing, and you're going to see for €5, that's roughly €5, you can load balance 5 services, 25 targets. Maybe someday I will do a tutorial about load balancing. If you need that tutorial, let me know. I don't want to create a tutorial without any viewers interested. That's pretty much it on the end of services. In a different video, actually, I'm going to look at DNS console, just so you can see how to use Hetzner to manage your DNS. If you're interested in that video, I can prioritize that video for you, and you can see it's free of charge. If you want to manage your DNS using Hetzner, it's free of charge. Especially if you're in Europe and you're worried about data and data regulations, and you want everything to be in the same place, in the same region, you can buy your domain from Hetzner, get your server from Hetzner, use DNS from Hetzner. That way, you'll contain all your data within the EU as per various EU regulations. So that's pretty much it for this part. Now, if you want to create your account, I'm aware that sometimes it's a bit difficult to create your account on Hetzner, and it's pretty disappointing considering that there are many people who would like to use their service. So if you experience any challenges in creating your account, just try a different payment method. If you're using a credit card, try PayPal or a different method that they provide. And if they ask you for any details to verify your physical address, make sure you send the correct item. It could be a billing item like water or electric bill. It depends on what they accept. So let's say, for instance, you want to create a cloud account. So of course, once you create an account, you can always use it for all these other items. But let's just go with cloud because that's VPS essentially. And that's the one we're going to create and see how we can log in. So there you go. If you don't have an account, you'll just click there on register now. Just click on register now, create your account, enter your address, password, then continue from there with the next details. Let me use that sample email. I can use that password and then continue. There you go. The first part, you'll need to verify your details. And once you click on the verification link, you'll need to enter your other details right there. And finally, you're going to need to provide a payment method. The supported payment methods are there. If your account is denied for any reason, just try and change the payment method and use a different email until it succeeds. And even if it doesn't, just contact them and tell them you're trying to create an account, things are not working out. Tell them your use case and they will create the account for you. Let's go and log in and see what the Hetzner dashboard looks like. To log in, I'll just go to accounts.hetzner.com. Go to accounts.hetzner.com and that should redirect you to login, or you can reset your password right there. When you log in, you'll see your account details there. You can change your settings right there, your profile, account settings. If you want to go to cloud or any of the other Hetzner services, you'll just click here and you can see you have the different services there. So console, this is where you'll manage your web hosting and managed servers. DNS, as the name suggests, that is for DNS. And then cloud, that is for cloud products. And then robot, that is where you'll manage your dedicated servers. As I said, we're interested in cloud and I'm just going to click there on cloud. If it is a new account, you're not going to see any project, but you can create one. So a project is a way for you to group your different resources. If you have servers, you have IP addresses, storage, or any other thing that you can create under the cloud environment for Hetzner, it will be under a specific project. So think of this as a way to categorize your different products. If you want to create a new one, just click on new project, give it a name, and add the project. So here I want to use this. Let's go to create a server. You can go into the project. You can go into a specific project. And if you have any resources, you can find them here. Servers, snapshots, backups, and so on. First thing, let's just create a server. And then we're going to see how to log into that server. And I'm going to deploy an Ubuntu server. You can deploy any server that is available on the Hetzner dashboard. So if you want to deploy a new server, you can just click there on servers and you're going to see you don't have any servers. You can click add server. So if I click there, add server, I can deploy my server in a specific location. Let's say I want mine to be in Falkenstein, that is in Germany. You can choose any of these other data centers. And then the image, choose the Linux OS that you want for your server. If you want to change the version for Ubuntu, you can deploy Ubuntu 22.04. If you want Debian, Debian 11, you can come here under Debian and choose a Debian there. So I'm going to go with Ubuntu, but I will go with Ubuntu 22.04. And then the type. So the type of the server. And I already told you the difference between shared and dedicated virtual cloud. Dedicated virtual CPU and shared virtual CPU. So I'm going to go with that. And I can choose either x86, which is Intel or AMD, or I can go with ARM processors. So you can go with this. They're much cheaper, but I'm just going to go with these ones. However, if you are hosting a website, I would suggest just try the ARM processors and see how they perform for your site. You'll find that there's no major difference for certain services, but there are certain things if you want to do with your server, you should just stick with Intel and AMD. So in this case, I'm just going to go with Intel or AMD. So I can just go with the CPX21, which is 3 virtual CPUs AMD and 4 GB RAM. If you want to run WordPress and it is just a small blog, you can even start with the 1 CPU Intel processor. If it is just a small blog, I'll just go with ARM64 processor. Go with the first one, see how it performs. I can assure you it may not even be that different. For me, I'm going to go with 3 vCPU AMD with 4 GB of RAM. And then networking. So you can actually create your VPS to be private. And if you want it to be private, you can enable private and even disable public IPv4 and public IPv6 addresses. This way, you can create a network of virtual servers that will talk to each other and will not be accessible online. So especially if you want to work with Kubernetes, this is something that you should do. You should create a private network and then create your virtual servers in those private networks. So in this case, of course, I'm just going to leave the public IP address and then SSH key. Now, if you want to use SSH, you can use SSH. If I disable SSH, you're going to see there's this message here and it's telling me that they are going to send me the root password to my email. It is recommended that you use an SSH key. Let me just show you quickly how to create an SSH key and add it to Hetzner and then use it to log into your server. So I'm just going to create a new SSH key. I'm going to click there to add it and then we're going to use that to log into our server. If you're following with me on Windows, you'll need to download Git and then open up Git Bash. I already have Git Bash installed and I'm not going to go through this process again because it's not a difficult process. If you want to generate an SSH key, as I said, follow along with me on Git Bash if you're in Windows. If you're on a Mac or Linux, just use the terminal application that comes with your operating system. So let's see how to generate an SSH key. So I'm just going to do SSH key gen-t. This is for the type, and I want to generate a key of type ED25519 key. If you want to see the type of keys that you can generate, you'll have to do, I don't know if -H is going to show it. Oh no. Let's Control C to cancel. Keygen -- help. And the types of keys that you can generate will be listed here under -T. So you can generate DSA, ECDSA, that. This is the one we'll be generating, that, and this is the one that you've probably seen lots of people, lots of different tutorials generating. And this is an older key that you can generate as well. So I'll do Control L to clear the screen and let's generate our key -T. And the type of key will be ED25519. I want to generate it with a file name, and this is going to store it in this directory. There, you can store it in any directory, but I want to put it in .ssh directory. SSH directory inside of this directory. So if this directory where you want to store it doesn't exist, you can create it using mkdir with the path to the different folders you want in that directory. Directories I already have inside here, so I'm just going to do tab twice and it's going to list. If you press the tab twice, it's going to list the folders which are there, and I want to do it in tutorials. So I'm going to do tutorials. I'll start typing, press tab to autocomplete that, and I'll just leave it inside of that directory. And I want to give the keys a name with the name of new key Hetz. So that's the name of my key. I can press enter and the key will be generated inside of this directory with that name. You can enter a passphrase. I'm not going to enter a passphrase, but enter a passphrase. I did a video about why you should not share your SSH keys. You should find that video, watch it and see why it's important, to have a passphrase for your private SSH key. So I'm just going to press enter and enter again, and the key is now generated. All right, so we have our SSH key. Now the next thing, let's copy our private key, and the links to your keys are here. You can see your public key has been saved here. Your private key has been saved there. So I'm just going to copy the link to my private key, to my public key, I mean. This is the one that you need to copy to Hetzner. So I can just do Control L to clear the screen. I have Visual Studio Code installed on my system, so I can just do code with the link to the key. Now to paste inside of Git Bash, you do Shift Insert. To paste inside of terminal on Linux, usually it's Control Shift V, unless you've changed it. I'm going to press enter, and that's going to open VS Code. Then I can copy the key. So I'm going to copy that, copy the public key, then bring it back to Hetzner, and I'm just going to add SSH key, paste that key in there, and I can give it a name. Just call it new key tutorial. You can even set it as the default key, but I'm just going to add SSH key. So you can see that you can even add 2 SSH keys, but I'm just going to use this one. And then you can add volumes. Volumes are additional SSD storage that you can attach to your disk. It's like attaching an extra disk to your VPS. So if you click there to create a volume, you can choose the size. You can see they're pretty affordable. 10 GB is that. You can go, maybe you want one for just $1 a month, €1 a month, I mean. You can see that will be 22 GB. If you scroll down, you're going to see that you can create it and it will get attached. So as long as you create this, you'll still get billed for it. You can calculate the price there for your disk. So I'm just going to cancel. I'm going to cancel. You can also add a volume later on. Now firewalls, I'm going to do another video for how to secure your SSH. And when I'm doing that video, I'm going to show you something that you can do with Firewall on your cloud provider. In this case, I'm not going to do this here, but when I do that video, I'm going to show you why having this can be beneficial. And then backups are charged at 20% of the server price. With it, without it, with it, you can see the price there. And then placement groups, you can group multiple servers into placement groups. I'm not going to do this, but it's something you can do. You can also create labels for your different servers, and labels are important in that you can use them to automatically add various resources together. And you can just click there to learn more about how to create the labels. So when you create a label, you can use it to attach specific servers to various resources. You can even attach it to load balancers, and that's a good use case because if you have servers that are dev servers and you want them to be load balanced automatically, you can add this label to your load balancer so that it can automatically get attached to your load balancer or your firewall when you create it. Once it is created, once you create a server, instead of having to go to the load balancer to manually add it, if you just add a label here, that label will be used to add it wherever you define. So of course, I'm going to leave that out. We don't need it. And then cloud config, maybe you want to install various things in advance. You can click there to see how you can install or remove various things in advance. So just click there. This is something that is nice to know. Maybe you want to remove Apache and install Nginx. You can do that here. So if you come here, you can see how you can create a cloud init file. Just start with that line and then users that this is going to create a user update packages. This is just an example that you can look at. So this is a full file and you can go and find tutorials for that. The server name here, let's choose a name like panelr.bizanosa.com. If you want to deploy more than one server, just click there. You can add another server, give it a different server name. You want another one, another server name. So I'm just going to remove the 2 and deploy the 1. When you're ready to deploy, just click create and buy now. So let the server deploy, and then we're going to see how to log into that server. And just remember that we did deploy our server with an SSH key. So we're going to see how to log in with the key. So just give it time to deploy. At least we have an IP address. We can copy the IP. So to log into your server, you'll just come back here, and remember, we're going to log in with our private SSH key. So to log in, we're just going to do SSH, and the user for our server by default will be root at the IP address for the server, shift insert to paste, and then of course you need to log in with your private key. So the identity of the key will be -I. Our key is the one without .pub. So when you generate the key, make sure you copy the two links that you're provided, the two paths that you're provided here, just save them somewhere. So I'll do shift insert. I will copy once again. There we go. Shift insert. Let's see if our server has been deployed. All right, so our server is online. You can see the green mark and it's telling us that it's running. That means that our server is online, and we can now log in. SSH, the user, IP address of your server, -I for the identity of your private key. Just remember that we also said that if you don't want this path here, if you don't want this path, you can replace the entire path with a tilde. If you just put a tilde there, it's the same as saying that. So I'll press enter to log into the server. It's asking us to confirm the key identity of the server. Is it a server we know, or someone is doing something fishy? So since it's a new server, I'm just going to type yes. So this is actually a good thing, because if you haven't done anything to your server, you haven't changed, you haven't reset your server, you haven't done anything, and you try to log into your server on the same computer and you get this message, just know that something is fishy. So that's why this is important. The first time you log in, it's okay to see it, but if you see it again and you haven't changed anything on your server, that means that something is fishy. There we go. We are logged into our Hetzner server, and I'm just going to do Control-L to clear the screen. I can update the server. Remember, it was an Ubuntu server. You can confirm which server it is by doing host name CTL, host name control. Type it correctly. Host name controller. There we go. So you can see it is an Ubuntu 2204 server x86 Hetzner virtualization KVM. Right, so let's update the server. Control-L. So we're going to update. If you're the root user, you don't need to use sudo. For habits' sake, I'm just going to use sudo apt update. Let's see if there are any updates. So if you're on Debian and you do sudo apt update, there is a chance you'll get the error sudo is not available. You can just do apt install sudo. So 47 packages can be upgraded. So to upgrade them, we'll just do sudo apt upgrade. Let the update continue. I'll press OK. I'll just press tab to go to OK, and then press enter. There we go. Everything is now updated, and I'll do Control-L to clear the screen. So there you go. You've deployed your server using an SSH key, and you've also seen how to log into your server with that SSH key. If you want to install anything in this server, now you can do it. I have a tutorial for how to set up your server initially, and then install a control panel, and then install WordPress. So if that's something you're interested in, I have videos for that, and I will put the links in the description. If I forget, please just remind me. So that's the first part. Now let's come back here and see how we can manage. Let's see how we can manage our Hetzner server. So by manage, I mean maybe you want to delete the server, you want to upgrade the server, you want to do various things with your server. Let's see how you can do that. I'm just going to click on it to go into the server, and there we go. That's our IP address. Right, so let's see what is new here. I can see the interface is kind of different based on the last video I did. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So things are different here. So if you want to stop the server, you can power the server off. Just click there and it will power it off. There are certain activities, when you need to do them, you'll need to turn off the server. One of those activities is if you want to rescale the server, that is to make it bigger. You want to increase the CPU for your server, RAM for your server, disk for your server. You'll need to stop it, and we're going to look at that at some point. Let's see actions. You can power off the server. You can shut down the server. You can add labels, transfer to project, and we spoke about projects. You can take a snapshot. You can enable protection. So if you enable protection for any server, it means that you will not delete it accidentally. You have to disable protection. So if you're running something here, just enable protection. For me, this is a sample. I don't really care if I delete it accidentally. Let's start here with graph. This is going to show you how you're using your server. You look at the CPU usage. You can check it live. You can check the previous 24 hours if your server has been online for that long. You can check previous 30 days if your server has been online for that long. And 30 days is the max data retention period. So disk throughput, all that you can check there. Disk IOPS, you can check that there. Network traffic, you can check all this here. And then let's go to backups. If you want to enable backup, if this is a server that you care about and you want to make sure that you always have a point of return. A point of return is very important. You never know, things might go wrong at some point. Enable backups, it's only 20% of your server plan. And then snapshots as well. You can create a snapshot. Snapshots are backups, but these are created manually. The difference between a backup and a snapshot is that a backup is created automatically. Once you set it up, it is created automatically. A snapshot, this is a manual backup. You have to come in here and take a snapshot of your entire server. And the good thing with a snapshot is that you can use it to deploy a new server. Let's say you've done an initial server setup. You can create a snapshot of that. Next time you want to deploy a new server, you just deploy from the snapshot so that you don't go through those steps again. Also take note of the pricing for a snapshot. So 0.011 per GB per month. Multiply this with the size of your server. And then load balancers. So load balancers, you'll see if it is attached to any load balancer, you'll see that here and you can manage it here. You can maybe reassign it somewhere or remove it. So you can see in my case, I cannot assign to a load balancer because I don't have a load balancer. So if you want a load balancer, come in here. If you come here to load balancers, you can create new load balancers. And then networking, I was saying something about private networks. So if you want to create a private network as well, to add this into, you can come in here under networks, create a network there for networking. Come here. You can get your public IP. Also important, come here and change this to your host name, your server host name. If you're going to use this domain for something in public, hosting a website, email, you can come in here and edit the reverse DNS. If I click there, I should be able to edit reverse DNS. And this IP as well, if you don't want it to be deleted, you can simply come in here, click on that, and you can enable protection. And that's going to be, and you can also disable auto delete. If you disable auto delete, this means that if you delete your server, you can retain the IP and use it with a different server. Maybe you want to use it to move your website to a different server, but use the same IP, you can do so. IPv6, there you go. If you need your IP, IPv6, you can use it for whatever. Let's go to firewall. We didn't create any firewall, but you can create a firewall. Allow certain ports that you want to allow here. And then volumes. As I said, you can create a volume and attach it to your server. Maybe you need additional 20 GB to use it for backing up something. You can create a volume, attach it. And you're probably hearing the word attach it and you're thinking, oh man, that seems like it's something that's complicated. No, you can create a volume and Hetzner will automatically attach it for you. So let's say I want 24 GB. Let's just say that's the name. Choose mount option. You can mount it manually or you can mount it automatically. If you leave it at automatic, Hetzner is going to automatically mount it for you. For instance, let's come here into our server. It's good to test these things so that I'm not telling you things that are not true. So let's just do df-h to see the disks that I have. We do not have any 24 GB disk. So df-h is going to show me all my disks. So if I was to just create it, let me just call it new V. I will click on create and buy. So volume created. right? It is attaching. You can see I don't have any unattached volumes. So this volume has been attached. But if you want to attach it manually, the steps should be provided. So if I click there on show configuration, this here is what you're going to use to attach it to your disk. If you don't attach it automatically, you can attach it manually like this. So let's come back and see if our disk is being shown here. So you can see the largest we had was 75 GB. Let's see if we're going to get another one here for about 24 GB. So let's do df-h to show us our disks. And you can see the disk has been attached and we can use it. So you don't have to worry about attaching the disk. You can automatically attach it when you deploy it. So that's volumes. And I know I might forget to delete this. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, first of all, detach the volume. For me to delete it, first of all, I have to detach it. After detaching the volume, it's not showing here. Let me come to volumes because I don't want to be charged even a single cent for something I'm not using. So if I come here under volumes, I'm going to see that it is unattached. And even if you're here, you can also attach it to a certain disk. And it has to be in the same location as well as in the same project. So I'm going to delete. I'm going to click there to delete. So copy, paste the name there to delete the volume. There we go. Power, let's look at the options we have here under power. So under power, you can power off, you can shut down, you can power recycle. So power off will do a hard shutdown of your server. So this may also cause data loss. Okay, it's pretty rare for the data loss to occur. So something that's important to note is that even if you power off your server, it will still be billed and you'll get charged for it. If you don't want to be charged, make sure you delete the server. The next step is rescue. Maybe there's something wrong with your server. You can do a rescue for your server, but this is something that mostly you'll find yourself doing with dedicated servers. So to enable rescue, just puts you in a rescue mode. So that means that when you log into your server, you'll get booted into the rescue mode for your server. And you can also reset. So if I wanted the root password, I can reset the root password here and set a new password. So let's go back here and let's look at ISO images. ISO images here. I don't know if there's one for Windows because Hetzner doesn't have Windows by default. So if you want Windows Server, you're going to have to do it manually. Oh, and they have various images here. So you can use the different images which are here and install Windows. But there are lots of tutorials for this on YouTube. If you really want to install Windows on Hetzner, there are tutorials on YouTube. You're not alone. Next, let's go to Rescale. Rescale, do you want to upgrade your server? If you want to upgrade it from the resources you currently have, you can see right now, this is the one that I'm using and it is marked with that red dot up there. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade. Now you're probably wondering, oh, I can upgrade all this, but why can't I upgrade disk space? Well, that's because if you come up here, there is an option CPU and RAM only. This allows you the option to rescale back to where you are. If you go from this to this, you can still go back to where you are because the disk space is the same. If I disable this CPU and RAM only, now you're going to see that I can upgrade even the disk, but a problem comes in. After upgrading to this, I can't go back to this because this is 80 GB. But I can upgrade from that to that without any problem because they're both 160 GB. And of course, you cannot upgrade from AMD to ARM processors, but you can upgrade from shared AMD, Intel. These are usually called AMD64. If you see AMD64, these are these processors, x86/AMD64. You can upgrade from the shared AMD64 processors to dedicated AMD64 processors. And I don't have the permission to upgrade to this. Maybe I would need to contact support. If you need this, you'd need to contact support. If you want to rescale your server, you'll have to switch off the server. You'll have to power off the server, because when it's on, you won't be able to see this button. So the moment the button turns off, that's when this button is going to activate itself. And then rebuild. So rebuild is a very important one, because you'll usually find that maybe you're installing a control panel. You install it, something happens, and with control panels, you need to do it on a fresh server. Just come in here and reset your server. I was using Ubuntu 20, so I can just search for Ubuntu. If I want to use Ubuntu, I can go with Ubuntu again, or if I want to replace the operating system, I can go with Debian. If I want to replace it, maybe I want to go with something like CentOS. You can use CentOS as well. And there are also other images. You can see there's WordPress, all these other images. You can use them to reset your server. Finally, if you want to delete your server, you'll just come in here under delete the server. You can delete the IP as well, or you can keep it as unassigned. IPv6 as well. If you want to use it, you can delete it, or you can keep it unassigned, but this is free. This action is irreversible. Please confirm by entering the server name. I will confirm. Copy, paste, delete the server. All right, so this has been a pretty long video about how to work with Hetzner, and we've looked at different parts of the Hetzner dashboard, Hetzner products, and your virtual servers. If you do have any questions, let me know. So if you use the link in the description and you don't have a Hetzner account, you can get 20 euros free credits. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.